From the National Weather Service in Raleigh, this is Nick Petro with your routine Thursday weekly briefing for Central North Carolina. This weather briefing covers a period today through the 1st of April. All right, it's kind of cloudy out there this morning, and looking out the window here in Raleigh from Centennial Campus, just a solid overcast. The satellite here, although I don't have one ready to show, but the satellite shows that there's some breaks in the clouds, but particularly mainly to our east. So if you're east of I-95, you're probably seeing a little sunshine. Despite the clouds, looking for dry weather today. High pressure will extend across the region. It's kind of a cool high pressure setting the stage for that cloudiness. A warm front will lift to our north, basically tomorrow night. It's going to stall basically across south and southeast Virginia, maybe into northeast North Carolina. And the models are hinting that there could be a few sprinkles along that boundary, but nothing too bad. There can never rule out a stray thunderstorm, but not much of a rainmaker. And then the next weather system, if you're looking at the Saturday panel, you'll probably see there's a cold front in the middle of the country, and that cold front will progress eastward. That cold front is expected to cross our area on Sunday, and that with cold fronts, that could bring a chance for a few light showers, but again, we're not expecting anything severe. There could be an isolated thunderstorm, but right now we're not expecting anything severe. And then if you're looking in the lower right panel, the middle next week, you see a couple low pressure systems. There's one that's over the Tennessee Valley, and then a secondary one that's going to try to form along the coast. That's a very classic, what we call a Miller B type cool season storm system. And with the low reforming to our east, that'll keep us on the cool side of things. But that's a very wet weather pattern as well. So there's a chance for some heavier rain during the middle of next week. And when I say middle, it's hard to say whether that's going to be Tuesday into Wednesday or maybe more confined to Wednesday. There are some differences in the models, but so we're just going to call it the middle of next week. And with us being on the cool side of things, that should keep the severe thunderstorm threat low. But there with that system, there could be some heavier rain. We'll talk about that some more on Monday. All right, so the next slide here shows the severe thunderstorm potential for the next couple days. And again, you'll see the area of light green painted across the northeast portions of the state into Virginia. That's associated with that warm front lifting north. Again, I think if you do see a thunderstorm, consider yourself lucky or unlucky, I guess, because most people are only going to see some stray light showers and maybe some sprinkles, but nothing severe here in the next day or two or three. Amounts of rainfall are pretty light, dry today. There's those sprinkles that I talked about Friday into Friday night. Saturday looks mostly dry. Sunday into Monday, really that cold front that will be coming through on Sunday is sort of just isn't going to produce much in the way of rain. But then things really kind of turn wet towards the middle of the next week, as I mentioned earlier, the better chance for heavy rain during the middle of next week. As we look further down the road into the 8 to 14 day outlook, which is basically from the middle of next week to the middle of the following week, and odds tend to favor below normal temperatures and below normal precipitation. So the first thing that comes to mind when I see that is, well, if it's going to be drier than normal, maybe there'll be fewer clouds, and if it's going to be cooler than normal, a cool, dry, high pressure setting up. Yeah, maybe there might be a couple patches of, I don't want to say the word freeze or frost, but certainly that would be a pattern. That would be a signal that maybe, there might be a couple cool nights left to go. So I'm not predicting frost or freeze, during that time period yet, but I'm saying, with drier and cooler conditions, being the expectation, that could mean, maybe some chilly nights. So again, if you have any outdoor agriculture concerns, maybe some new plants, we may have to be talking about that later next week. All right, so we'll cover that in greater detail as that gets a little closer. But in terms of any kind of, high impact, really threatening weather in terms of flooding or severe thunderstorms, tornadoes, things are pretty quiet. We'll have to again take another look at the middle of next week's systems because that could bring some heavier rain, and we'll have to be looking out for some wet roads and flooding types, maybe some localized ponding type flooding concerns when that system comes. But we'll address that in more detail during our routine Monday weekly briefing that we typically do. All right, so wrapping it up again, dry today with the cool high pressure over us. A warm front lifting north could give us a few sprinkles. Can't rule out a stray thunderstorm late tomorrow into tomorrow night, maybe into Saturday. Not a big rainmaker there. Cold front comes on Sunday. Not a big rainmaker with that right now. We'll have to wait till the middle of next week before we get into any kind of heavier rain. And again, we'll elaborate more on that once we do our Monday morning weekly briefing. So for the next few days, we're in pretty good shape. So with that, that's our weekly, or at least Thursday update to our weekly briefing for Central North Carolina.